it's angled all right. So this is where you have to be. And here it is. That's the sound out.
Shuffle down here.
Yeah, that's it.
There we go.
We're officially live on the cheapest podcast they ever made. All right, so it's been a few months. I haven't done this since I think the last one was back in April or May. And that's because summer. I don't want to sit inside all the summer. I mean, like even today, it's nice. At least we got to see the sunset. So
yeah, that was beautiful.
Got to appreciate the whole day. And now, I mean, it's hard to see because the camera's pointed slightly too low. But there's a window up there, and it's getting pretty dark out now. So I think this is probably like the best time to do it too. Like I can't do it during the day because I'm sure my boss wouldn't like that. And
probably not for you. I'm pretty free at the moment.
Okay, well you'll carry on the torch during the day, but at nighttime I'm gonna have to. We'll do like I want to do a really big group podcast at some point. Like I want to cool. I think it'd be funny, like really funny. Just set up a live camera and put like 50 people in a room. Just like and let them all know that's the theme of it, and just see what happens. Like and it's kind of like when you leave like one of those not digital cameras, like the ones you bring to Walmart and you leave them in like the middle of a party and everyone takes pictures. Yeah. Even at weddings they do that.
Yeah.
It'd be funny to do that with a live stream, just going the whole time. And here's another funny thing. Every one of those like 50 people that we put in this room has to like share it on their credentials, their social media and stuff. So you got like 50 random like neighborhoods of people that are just like, oh, like what's going on here?
And it's just like, what is this?
I don't know. I feel like we should try that one day. Like we'll do it on this channel. We'll invite as many people as we could think of.
Would it just be people mingling?
Well, I think it would just be like it would end up being a party or something. Like it's not like we're all just gonna be like walking by like trying to get in one by one. But I think it'd be a funny experiment.
Yeah, probably what people do.
All right. Well, tell the people who you are, Mr. Desmond Cadillac Metz.
Desmond Cadillac. Oh, I like that. That's nice. There's Desmond Wayne Metz.
Mittens Metz would have been way cooler.
Mittens Metz would have been pretty cool.
Oh, Wayne, thanks for coming by. So
no problem.
For those of you who don't know, I don't even know. Me and Desmond met. I think it was probably grade 9.
I think so.
HC place to be.
Yeah.
I switched over from a public school. Didn't you go to a public school?
Yeah. So it's very different.
So for those of you who don't know, Holy Cross is a Catholic school. Which means it was full of Catholic boys, Catholic girls, Catholic teachers, Catholic walls, Catholic schools, Catholic everyone. And
mass.
They had mass.
Oh. Sit up, stand, sit down. You know what I mean? Like it was up and down.
Well, you have to be like every Catholic is like at least a certain level of fit. Like you're not going to find an out-of-shape Catholic because it requires a lot of kneeling and jumping, and high five and shake a hand.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
What elementary school do you go to?
Lockview on Bunting.
Oh, can you actually view the lock from there?
No, you cannot.
You guys are one story, so I always thought about that.
That is the funny part. You cannot see the lock from Lockview School.
So I imagine there was like just some big like mascot that was the lock or something like.
We were the Leopards, Lockview Leopards.
I guess it had to be something else.
Yeah.
And
we rolled off the tongue.
Could have been lepers.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, I went to school down the street, Colonel John Butler, and it closed down. But it's open now. It's like a private school ran by like Mennonite families.
Just down the street there?
Yeah, that's it. Right at the stop sign.
Yeah.
Right across from the church where all the cops usually pull people over.
Yeah. I had to go very slow there on my way to work.
All the time. Those who know go slow.
Yeah. It's like you don't go fast. Do this one.
But it's funny. We were talking about a million different things. I had 100 miles an hour right before this started. But the reason I brought you here is because I was really curious about all the different countries you went to. And I wanted to like kind of just hear the whole story. Like even before you got there, I wanted to hear like how you decided the places that you were going and like how long you're waiting to go. Because it was like after graduation that you just left. And you said before that you did an exchange over in Edinburgh?
In Glasgow.
Okay.
For 5 months. Over in Glasgow.
Okay, so like just over a term, and then you stayed for like a few months after. Like what months?
I kind of went too early because like school over here starts relatively early in September. So I went over on like the 3rd, so I could get like situated, know the town, and then school didn't actually start until like the 24th or 5th
of October
of September.
Oh, okay.
So it was just like end of the month, and it was just like, all right. Well, I didn't mean to come here this early then.
Yeah, so you just like pitched a tent and just hung out.
Pretty much. And then there was some time afterwards, like in between exams, a very long period. So that time too, I was just kind of traveling, and then I flew home for Christmas, surprised my family, and then I went back to Glasgow because I was supposed to have a return flight near the end of January.
Mm-hmm.
That flight got canceled, so I had to book another one.
Oh, jeez.
So I just switched a flight, and I got a little bit of an earlier one. So then it was really stupid of me to actually fly home for Christmas, kind of, because I was only home for 2 weeks, and it was just
so many Christmases down there.
Yeah, and it was just like, oh my God, well, that was stupid. You're right, because I don't know, 5 months I was getting pretty homesick, although I loved it.
Oh, I believe it. I was homesick the first day I left.
Right, and then as soon as I got back, I was like, fuck, I miss Scotland.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things. You don't know what you got till it's gone. The grass is always greener on the other side. And for some reason, we just love green grass. My grass is just so damn brown. I gotta get out of here.
Honestly, though.
Yeah, you know what? We just have to be appreciative that we have grass.
It's very true.
Someday we might not.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
The penguins don't have grass.
Yep.
You're next. It's going fun. So then what year was that? That was in 2017? The third year?
2017. I just had a 2-year memory on Facebook of me actually getting on the flight and having a beer.
Oh, okay, because I saw that memory. I checked every posting.
Apparently, you've been researching.
I get notifications. I get
Desmond posted.
I've got a guy.
He monitors guys. He just watches, sends me them.
Sometimes screenshots, lets me know what you've been up to. He's got you on Snap Maps. I don't know how, but he's got you.
Don't even use Snap Maps, but he's got me.
So 2 years ago, you left to go there.
Yes.
Right, because it's September.
Yeah, it's September, man.
School start.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah. I'm going to go back to class Saturday for the first time.
Fair enough. Yeah, Marina just started. So she's back at school. She's like, oh, I don't want to go to school because she's at my house. My sister from down the hallway goes, ha! You have to go to school.
Oh, education. So sad. Why must we educate ourselves?
Honestly.
Well, no, I mean, that's awesome, though. They always have that thought. Not just there's definitely people that are I wish I got into the program I wanted to be in, or you get people that are I wish that I had the money to go to school. I mean, you have people that are I wish I lived in a country that had school, or things like that. And it's
when I was in Glasgow, I was doing essays with people, group projects where we had to do an essay, and we actually had a class to teach people how to do an essay because they don't write essays and stuff like that where they're from. And I'm just
man, Kathleen.
What, are you kidding me? I'm we have 2 essays this year, and I'm we have a class for it.
Yeah.
I was you know me, I'd have to write 9 essays, 5 side papers, legit. What the fuck? I was no way.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I had a similar experience when because I had studied economics, but I took poli-sci, political science.
Yeah.
And I even studied ancient English literature, so a lot of Shakespearean kind of fun stuff. So I was used to writing a few essays before I even figured out where I was heading. Before I could even memorize the rooms, I wrote an essay. So I got to this class in my 3rd year, and it was how to write an essay for economics students, and it was pretty easy. I want to say it's a joke. It was, you still had to go through the hoops. You still had to write an essay, which is, it's not I had to sit down in a comfy chair. It still takes some time. I could sit down in a comfy chair right now, but I want to write an essay. And I got to mentally prepare. I got to procrastinate for a few weeks. But it was really easy. No one else had done anything that didn't require a calculator in 3 years. And I was hey, I've got this.
This is easy stuff. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. But then it was tough because you're in a group project, and it's I just want to change. Let the groups I just want to change all of this here.
I just want to burn them all. Burn all our work.
It's just this part that doesn't work. This enormous part that wasn't my part.
Yeah. No, you know what? It's funny. In my last year, whenever I had a group assignment, I would automatically just be you know what, guys? You lucked out. I'm going to do everything. If there's anything you want to double check, that's fine by me. And in my current program, it's kind of the same thing. I'll see hey, who wants to do what? Who really wants to do part B of this project, who wants to put the table of contents, who loves tables of contents, and obviously
good things.
General response is fuck, I don't want to do any of that. So then that's when I'm all right, you guys are lucky. I care about my grade more than you guys do combined, so I'm just gonna do whatever the hell. And and I still give them always the opportunity, if you have something better you want to add on to it, by all means, please make it better. But I
feel most of the time they're that's fine.
Yeah, and once it's done too, yeah, exactly. They're just well, I was already doing something else anyways. That's what I always think. Like, you know, we went to Brock, which is like a good school and all, but it's not the best school. Like, can you imagine if you went to like a Yale or something where every person that's there is like, I have to really like bust my hump. Like, I'm here for a reason. I'm crippling debt to be here.
It's like I saw so many people going through at Brock that were just like like they were every year or like every term it seemed like they were in a new program. And I was just like, I was like, what?
That happens too. I mean, like,
I'm like, that's a lot.
It's funny because I have thought about going into 10 different programs in my first like 2 years of school. And like, it's funny because like, you know, you're forced to take a bunch of electives that you don't have to the next year. You never have to carry on with them. Like, you know, that's why I took English. That's why I took biology. That's why I took, I took political science because it was also just an elective. And it's funny because like, then I thought like, well, you know, it'd be cool to go into biology. Maybe I could even like see if I can go into like a pre-med science and see if that's something I'd want to work towards. And then I'm just like, well, but I don't like cancer or learning about this or that. I get too paranoid. I'd start thinking I had every disease I read about. So then I was like, okay, well, I mean, maybe I'll go into like politics or get a poli-sci degree. But then I was like, but no, I do like politics, but I'd rather learn economics. I feel like politics is something you can learn through like other means, but it's better to have like a solid like actual economics degree. Like it's seen from like a wider angle as something that's like, I guess like desirable. Like no, nothing against a poli-sci degree. There's still a lot of great things you can do with one and whatnot. But I guess just with what I want to do, I thought, you know what, I'm better off learning politics through experience. But it's hard to just experience economics unless you just like roll in a bunch of like a big pool of money on Wall Street. That's how you experience it.
that's about it.
But that's anyway. But you know, 8-hour drive to New York, and I don't like my passport picture, so here I am. But I don't know why. That's the thing I love about these podcasts. I go down like the longest rabbit hole, but I always have like the typical thought and plot of what I want to talk about. So like what I was thinking still is like, okay, Desmond, so you've gone for 5 months, and when you came back to Canada, you felt like you just didn't get quite enough. Now, did you go anywhere right away after that? Was there anywhere that you were like, I need to just go to Delaware, or I need to just like get the hell out of St. Catharines or Niagara or Ontario or Canada or North America? Like, did you just go? You're like Atlantic Ocean.
No. When I got back from Glasgow, it was pretty much, that was it. Like I was home, and then I was just home for a while. We didn't go anywhere.
Were all the cows actually made of glass back in the that always tripped me out when I was younger. Scottish people. Great. It's like, man, like they love cows and they got an abundance of glass.
It's probably one of the funniest things to hear a Scottish man
say Glasgow.
No, to call someone a fat coo.
A fat coo.
That was one of the funniest things. Like, look at this fat coo. Like
it translates to like a fat cow.
Yeah, okay. And it's just the funny because it's just like a common insult. Like, and it's just so funny to me because it's like, man, like. You said that to someone here, they'd be so mad at you.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I was walking down the street and like, let's say I like stepped on something, you know, pissed someone off enough that they had to yell at me, and they were just like, "You fat coo," and I'd turn around and be like, "Where am I?" Like, I'd almost think like, wow, like you traveled that far to say that to me, like I'm learning something now. This is great. But it's funny. I was in Edinburgh, which I think you would probably know more because you lived there for so long. But it's about an hour drive away, 2 hours drive.
I never drove it. I always took the train. By train, it's probably about an hour.
Okay.
It wasn't very far. Edinburgh. Oh, actually, hold on.
Yeah, I want to go back there.
Edinburgh's not too far.
Especially with good old Brexarino. I want to go check out. It's going to be a lot cheaper to travel to the UK soon.
The thing about Edinburgh. Edinburgh. The thing about Edinburgh, though, is everyone always wants to go to Edinburgh Castle.
Yeah, I went there.
Right? And how was it?
It was all right.
It was all right.
It was all right.
Are you listening to this? Are you listening to this? You listen to this, asshole? You listen to this? Because Edinburgh Castle, like, it's honestly, they put like a whole bunch of drywall.
It's on a hill,
right? It's on a hill, but they've kind of ruined the inside. Like, it doesn't really
make it into
a castle,
a theme park,
right? Yeah. It's more like a bunch of walls of like info and like, you know.
Yeah, it's a theme park.
Yeah,
it's a museum now.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I feel like anyone can be a ruler. In it.
If you actually want to go to Scotland and see a good castle,
you got to get out of town.
You got to go to Stirling because there they have an absolutely amazing castle.
And that's probably where.
And it's just like left alone. Ooh, take that away from me.
Good. Hope the sound's still working. Sorry, folks at home. We just had an earthquake.
My bad.
So Stirling.
The castle there, absolutely beautiful. When we were there, they were doing a bit of like maintenance. So there's a bunch of scaffolding up in the one part, but like other than that, like the place is absolutely massive, and it's just huge, big gardens, big castle walls, cannons all over the place, like everything you want from a castle. And the inside looks like a castle as well.
And were they doing construction when you were there? You said there was scaffolding?
Yeah.
That's always the saddest thing when you're there and you're like, but fuck, there's like all this stuff. Like, I wish I was here at this other time because then I wouldn't have to like, where was I? It was Big Ben was covered in scaffolding.
Yeah,
so
it was the same when I saw it as well.
I don't know. I kept calling it big old scaffy.
That's fair.
Probably isn't as nice. Just making sure this thing's
yeah, that's probably a good idea.
All right, we're good.
All right, that's good. Didn't ruin it.
No, we're still in Edinburgh, or still.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But at the same time, like it sucks that it's like it's covered up. But at the same time, it's like you know exactly when you were there. Like you can be like, I was there
when it was covered.
In 2017 when Big Ben was covered in like it was getting fixed. There's a million pictures of
Big
it.
Ben, but you didn't say Big Scaff.
Yeah, exactly, right? You got that memory.
No, we were lucky. We were there a month after one of those crazy guys like drove up onto the sidewalks and stuff.
Yeah.
So like they had just put in like all the railings and they put all these like crazy extra barriers on like the sidewalk path. So like I remember Caleb Jones was like freaking out most the whole time, like just like, oh man, like we could be next. Like we could just be walking right now and someone's gonna drive over us. And I was like I've always been a numbers guy, and like, it's a horrible thing to have happen to anyone, and I don't wish it upon anyone, but like the odds of it happening are still extremely low. Like, if there's going to be 100,000 people walking in a place a day, and let's say that happens even if it was once every 100 days, that's 1 out of 10 million is your chance of that happening to you. So, I mean, I'll take the odds and I'll walk on the sidewalk. But obviously we still got to do what we can to like stop people from driving their vans where they shouldn't.
Yeah, that's definitely
in all honesty.
Yes.
But what was I going to say? Something about vans. Vansicle.
Something about it.
But I don't know. So I was in Edinburgh for 5 days. Flew in from Cardiff. Like left Wales. It was like early morning. Got there at like 8 a.m. I think. So it was kind of cool seeing the sunrises coming down. The bridges that they have that connect to the Northern Islands are beautiful. Those like huge suspension bridges they have.
Where?
You can see it from Edinburgh, and it connects over to the island of just above it.
Fair enough. You know what? I've never seen that.
I'm trying to think. I might have a picture of that actually on here. Back on the old
That's pretty cool though.
But it's kind of funny to think like, I like thinking that I probably walked on a few streets that you had been on just 2 years ago. That you kind of like, I guess, paved those. I mean, you didn't actually pave. I'm sure some other guy paved them, but you paved the way for me to go travel there. Yeah, I'm looking right now at the.
Fair enough. I feel like, that happens all the time. I remember me and my dad went to Cayuga for the drag races.
Where is Cayuga? That's like down southwest from here, like just outside of Denville area. But you can see way in the back, like it was kind of cloudy from the plane. But
what am I looking for?
There's like way back in the mist there. You see these things?
Oh, true.
Yeah, so these huge bridges that go over the water. Like I have no idea how big the Golden State Bridge, but that's something that imagines me of that they.
You know what? I mean, I probably I for sure drove across one of these massive bridges. Me and Marina, we rented a car when I was over in Glasgow. She came and visited me for 2 weeks.
What kind of car?
I remember that it was called Leon. His name was Leon. That's what it said on the back.
Oh, okay.
So I just called it Leon the whole time. Leon was great. I fucking love Leon, man.
Maybe it's Leon.
Maybe, I don't know, but I just go
butcher.
He's British. It's Leon. Who knows? But we called him Leon. And it was a great little car. And it was funny because when we got it, the guy's just like, all right, I see here you asked for an automatic. And I was just like, yeah, like I'm already on the other side of the street, like not trying to drive.
Yeah, I don't want to add that in.
Right? And he's just like, oh, okay. Well, there's none here. So he had to drive us to the airport to go get this car.
Oh, man.
And it was like this whole big thing. But luckily we had this guy because he was like, you know what? You're renting it till Sunday. He's like, because you're renting it from our office, it's closed on Sunday. So like you're supposed to have it back to us by 6 when we close. But like if it's here at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Like, it doesn't matter because we don't know when you returned it. It's just back. It's back. That's good.
Yeah, no one's going to be there to like have to use it right away.
So we had a much longer day. But we drove all the way to the Isle of Skye. And there's a big, huge bridge that takes you across to there.
Oh, it's going to be so pretty.
It's very nice.
Have you ever done the bridge to PEI?
No. I've always wanted to see Canada. I always said I'm going to see it first. And then it was actually
I used to say that too.
It was actually a girl in my program. She went to Scotland, and then like I was seeing all her pictures, and I'm like,
gotta go.
I'm like, I have relatives in Scotland. Like, why aren't I in fucking Scotland?
It's funny because you could see Scotland 10 times before you saw Canada once.
Yeah, honestly, I saw so much of Scotland when I was there. Like, I went to a lot of places with a tour company.
You know, if my first country was like the Vatican City, and I got to see the whole country a million times, I would just say, yeah, I'm gonna leave now. I'm gonna like for sure. Now I'm ready to go. Like I had to see the whole country. Even if it was something like Portugal, it's like you gotta like okay, you can go to every coast. It's gonna take you a day, like or a few days. Like not a big deal.
It's not very long
compared to Canada, or if you live in the States, or even like if you live in Russia, God forbid, like you're not. There's no way you're gonna like. I have to see every.
One of the funniest things we experienced in Europe is people would look at how long it was going to take us to get somewhere, and they'd be like, "Oh, well, it's far away. Like it's a long ride." And we'd be like, "How long is it?" And they'd be like, "It's an hour and like 15-minute train ride." And we're like, "Okay, like that's not far." And they're like, and they kind of look at you like, "What do you mean that's not far?" And it's like that's close actually.
Yeah, well, it's crazy too, like how good their train networks are. Like there's some places you're doing 300 kilometers an hour on a train going through Europe.
They're amazing, and they're like all the time. Like we always laugh because in places like London, if you've ever been. People run down the escalators to get to the trains. They come every 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
People are like sprinting. It's like
here we don't even have them, and then and the network that they have in London too is just like, and you know, people still complain. I had to take the fucking bus from here to there. It's like, what do you mean? Like the amount of layers that they have, the web that is the transit system,
and to think about how far underground it goes. We came out of one day. I don't even know how many flights of stairs we walked up. And we were like, do you realize how far down underground we just were?
Some of the escalators, because it's so, we were there last year. I don't know why I had to think of it, but we stayed in Wembley, so just outside of London. And so, you know, we subwayed in every day downtown to like go explore and whatnot. And there's one of those escalators that are like, they're probably 4 times. For those who know, it's probably 4 times longer than the escalator at the Penn Center that goes down to Buck or 2 or $1 or whatever. There's ones that are like at least 4 or 5 times that were just boom down, and then you walk a bit, and then down another one.
Honestly, and you're like, what the fuck?
Like it's funny because we thought, you know what? Let's build tall. Let's put like the CN Tower there. Let's even put a big point on the top. We'll call it a radio station, and we'll make it really tall. Down there in Europe, they're like, well, we just dig.
Honestly, like. All right, we got nowhere to go. We're going down.
Italians like, we're tired. We don't want to build. We'll just go down in the ground. It's much easier.
We'll dig a hole.
It's a fun track. But that's what happens there. So Desmond, you're back from Scotland. Where did you go next? Did you wait until this trip this year, or you must have went somewhere else in between? So you didn't travel much of Canada.
So got back. Then it was school. So what is that, like January? Pretty much in school that whole time. And then I think the only thing we squeezed in at the end of the summer, me and Marina went on a 3-day road trip up north.
How north?
We went up north to Algonquin Provincial Park, spent the night on Mew Lake, had this beautiful little campsite. I absolutely loved it. But unfortunately, we were only staying that night. Hold on. I actually had to back up. Before we did this,
we were backing up.
we drove to Huntsville. There's some rapids there in the gorge, and you can rent a tube and you can float down them. So we did that. We rented a tube, floated down the Huntsville.
And that's how you broke both your legs.
Yeah, that's how my legs broke. That's what I said. Right. So we did that, and then we drove up to Algonquin, stopped in Huntsville, went to Algonquin, set up our stuff. I loved it there. We went for a hike the next morning, and then we left, and then we headed to Wasaga Beach. So then we went to Wasaga Beach.
That's far.
Had a campground there.
Because that's Lake Huron, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. We didn't actually go to the beach at all. Well, we went to the beach, but it was kind of saw like the sunset near the beach, and then like we were there at nighttime at one point.
Speaking of that, today I saw a video. There's a lot of flooding on Wasaga Beach.
Yeah,
today.
I saw that. I saw that a little while ago. I showed Marina. I'm like, this is Wasaga Beach right now. I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like, we were there like a year ago.
Like, all the water levels are flopping. But yeah, so
yeah,
go ahead.
It's no good.
So you're flopping in Wasaga, but it was drier.
Yeah. So yeah, we had another campsite. I really didn't like it because we were like surrounded by trailers. But by the end of the night, we had built some wicked solo cup lanterns, and then we had beer pong going. And our campground, honestly, it looked so funny. Like people may have thought we were doing witchcraft or really spiritual or something. We had those little tiny citronella candles, like the tea light ones.
Wow.
So we had those everywhere, like a couple big ones, mosquito coils. Like we were not bit once the entire trip. But like it was just like so funny. It was actually such a nice little campsite once like it got dark and I couldn't really see the trailers because you could hear the waves hitting the beach and it was like, all right.
It'd be really funny if you guys were both wearing like red robes, like looking like little red rock the whole time. Just like people come to you and you just turn and you both start singing the same thing at the same time. We love camping in the dark. Just like really.
Yeah, some really creepy shit.
Do you like candy? Those like little person.
That'd be good.
Oh my god.
But then after that, we woke up the next. We woke up the next day and actually headed to Blue Mountain, and then we rode the Twin Thunderbird zip line that they have up there.
How far is that? Sounds crazy.
I think it's 1,000 meters. I think it's a kilometer. I think it's the longest one in Canada.
That's pretty cool. We need to get a fact
and you go side by and you like just like Google this, right? But like you go side by side, and it was like so it's pretty wicked. Control your speed.
You high five each other? Oh really? So you could like
so like we could actually go the same speed. I had the GoPro like on my.
How do you control your speed? Is there like a lever that?
There's a lever. Okay. So you like pull down, I think, and you go, and then you let it go, like kind of let it draw back up.
Because you're like suspended by the hip, and then you can do. Okay, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. So we did that morning, which was lucky because they were like iffy because the wind was kind of high, but they let us go, so that was dope. And then we drove to Tobermory, but there weren't any boats going because the waves were so bad. But we could go to the grotto, which is absolutely beautiful.
What's the grotto?
I don't even know how to describe it. It's literally a grotto. I guess that's the land formation.
It's just like a big rocky formation.
A big rocky formation with lots of cliffs. Like you could jump off the cliffs. There's a couple caves that you could swim to and go inside. Like in the one cliff, you could cliff jump into the water, which was dangerous. I was excited about it. Apparently, there's also a tunnel in there that leads you all the way back out. An underwater tunnel. Wow. And I was like, I'll die not trying that, but it sounds pretty cool.
The thing is, you would go through and you'd be so excited, the adrenaline would kill you. like wow, I need more oxygen now.
It wouldn't be good.
Heart go faster.
I'd have to be like on a rope so you could pull me the rest of the way when I stopped or something. Tug twice. I don't know.
Because a trail of crackers won't do it.
No, that's no good.
Man, that's crazy. So okay,
and then we drove home.
Okay, so then what was next after that? Just back to school, back to work.
After that, I think that was pretty much the end of the.
And then that's probably going into your last year of school.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that was like that summer, and that was like the end of the summer.
So then this takes us to like September 2018.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. That one.
Okay.
All right. So last year of school, the only other thing we did, we also go to the Millcroft, which is
where's that?
It's a spa. It's really nice. That's all I'm going to say about it.
I love towels.
That's all you need to know. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Because there's probably some other horrible things about the Millcroft. Everyone look up the tragedy of Millcroft, September 2018. Whatever it was.
Burned it down.
It was an accident.
It was an accident.
They had insurance, I think. Well, so how was your last year of school? Like, I don't know, did you hate it? Are you like glad to be done? Or are you kind of like?
Yeah, I'm mostly glad to be done. I felt a lot of repetition in the last couple of years.
Yeah,
where it was kind of like the same material, but like from a different prof now, and it was just kind of like. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I found that for me, there was a lot of classes from second to third year that were like that. Like just intermediate macroeconomics. In the third year course is literally called intermediate macroeconomics 2. So
yeah,
this is the follow-up. Like, all right, so you thought you knew everything there was to know, but wait, there's more.
There's more.
And,
let me tell you.
I can like, but you need to have those classes that are different. Like, I feel like that's the beautiful thing, and why you should always take like some sort of an elective. Because I remember first year all electives, second year none.
I had one class and it was horrible. I needed a course just kind of for an elective.
Yeah.
And so I picked this course, and it was like the history of role-playing games and like board games kind of thing. And I was like, that sounds kind of cool. It's in like a comm course. I'm thinking we're going to learn about how they marketed like these first couple games.
Did it take place in like a really dark room in the basement of Prague with no light?
Pretty much, man. It was a fucking Dungeons and Dragons course. All we did was learn how to play it. We played it every week. We had to write 2 papers. Guess what they were on?
Dungeons, and one was
reviewing 2 Dungeons and Dragons like manuals that the prof had wrote.
Wow, there are a lot of courses that like I don't understand how Kathleen Wayne allowed them.
I couldn't believe it, man. Like, I was like, this class is absolutely ridiculous. Like,
that is nuts.
I called the guy out in front of the class. He was really mad at me because we're sitting there, and he was forcing us to buy these books, and I realized they're written by him. Right, and it's literally a Dungeons and Dragons manual. Like,
it's so bad.
This book is not going to benefit. The book will benefit me one day. Like, I pretty much have all my textbooks. Like, because one day I'm going to read them. Right? Like,
I know. I did that for a few weeks after.
So it's like those books, like they have actual knowledge in them, though. Like some facts. Like, you're trying to make me buy a Dungeons and Dragons book so I can like play a game.
Oh my god! The guy's like, how? I don't get how that slips through the cracks because his boss signs his paycheck. Right? You know what I mean?
I called him out in class because he wanted to see. He's like, yeah, you have to have a receipt when you hand in your assignment. Fucked.
Really, a receipt that you bought his book.
So I raised my hand and I go, hi. I'm like, I found your book on like a book club.
Yeah, like
website, you know, like an ebook, right? I'm like, I found an ebook on a site, and I just signed up for it. I'm like, so like I have like a
digital copy.
A digital copy.
He like, freaked out. Where's my commission? Give me $20.
He flipped out, and he was like, yeah. If you're okay with plagiarism, yeah, that's cool.
Wow.
And he went on like a 5 to 10 minute rant about plagiarism. And at one point, like I was like, it had your name on it.
Awful.
I literally told him, like, it had your name on it, if that makes you feel better.
Wow.
Right?
Awesome.
And he just like wasn't having it, and I wasn't having it because I'm like, I'm not buying your stupid fucking book.
Well, okay, I understand if it's like, okay, this guy like invented something, or he like, you know, made a new type of medicine, discovered a new way that's going to save like a new economic method, like something that's actually adding to the productivity of life. I'll pay for that. But if this guy is literally like, just here's my version of a manual of this game, and you have to like pay me basically in order to graduate my class, that's extortional. That's like, give me money, or I will like there are consequences. That is the definition of extortion.
So like the second one I couldn't find, and I just read reviews online, and then based on those reviews, I just gave him really shitty versions of those reviews because like, fuck your second book.
Yeah.
And then he gave me a really shitty mark. And I was like,
I took this class.
Still passed.
Yeah. Like, I know. Like I took this class thinking it would help me. Like,
I thought it would be interesting to learn like the history of board games.
Yeah. And I'm stressing the hell out of myself with these other classes I'm actually working at. And now I've got this stupid class that was supposed to be my break. And now my teacher's upset that I'm not paying them.
Literally. What do you want?
You know, my tuition wasn't free.
And it wasn't like a cheap book. Like if the book was like $10, fine. But it was like a $40 book. And I'm like, no, I'm not buying a $40 Dungeons and Dragons book.
I'm sorry the university won't pay you that much for your fake class that you have to rip off your students that are like already are like, you know, sorry they ever walked into your room.
Honestly.
Well, okay. So besides that though, your classes were repetitive.
Yes.
But that is nuts.
That was one in particular.
I was gonna say, so my last year I was like, yeah, I've got some extra time. I did the 5-year program because I did the co-op.
Yeah.
So I ended up having like basically an extra term, and I was like,
well, that was me.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm graduating in June anyway, so I may as well take this extra term. So I ended up picking up extra credits. I did computer science, and like that was a whole nother world. Like I'll be honest, like I spent probably just as much time on the computer science classes I did on my economics classes. I had 2 econ and 1 computer science in my last term, and like I guess I probably should have put more into the computer science, but I was like, you know what, like. It's an economics degree I have. I'm learning what I'm learning, but I just didn't want to have to like put in all those extra like hours of work into something if I could put those extra hours into my economics.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
But yeah, and I'll still pass it. It was just super different from econ too, and that's what makes it so tough when you're like doing a whole other faculty or learning how to play Dungeons and Dragons when you never have.
It's like, are you serious?
I feel like I'm in the wrong room, but I'm gonna wait a few weeks and see what happens.
Yeah, like, oh my god. And I think I was like a week late for that course. He let me catch up, which was nice.
That's awful too, because you're a week late, so you have to come in like, I'm an expert. It's okay. Like, I know what's going on.
It's all good. I've played this game 1,000 times. I already have a character.
I know where I am.
Like, man, we literally had to make characters. Like, one of the first assignments was to make a character. Like, you roll dice to get the stats. And
Desmolio.
Like, you pick what you want and name it. Like,
Desmolio, king of the desert people.
Mine was like, it had Chronic somewhere in there.
Chronic Metz. The Cadillac story.
It was something like that. Like, I don't even know what it was. But
Kid Chronic. Yeah, I don't know. I guess the weirdest class, like, that definitely takes the cake for like the farthest out class I've heard that, like, compared to like how the person's program started. So like I've heard of like, there's people that take like indigenous studies classes when they're like studying other things, and it's like that's really different from like bioengineering. Like,
yeah,
it's like complete. Or even if you take like history compared to like business, like I mean, any 2 degrees and any 2 programs, you could be like, well, it makes sense. Like even if it's like, indigenous studies and Dungeons and Dragons, it's like, well, the indigenous deserve a game too. So by combining these 2 courses, you can figure out a way to make a system of events so it's charitable to everyone. Like whatever, you can argue for any 2 degrees, like biochemical engineering and I don't know, the sociology of sport are necessary to be able to understand the feelings of the players and their maximum, I don't know, THC absorption. Just like totally, like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I guess ancient English was pretty weird to take for an economics degree.
Yeah, that's a different one.
I mean, biology, but it's like that makes sense. Like first year, you take everything anyways. I don't know. I guess that's pretty weird as it got. I was pretty boring after, I guess, because besides econ, it's like I only after second year took either poli-sci or computer science along with it. It was just like, no, I shouldn't learn anything else. Even computer science was like, that's a stretch. And I'm glad I did though. So now I'm still doing computers, working at the old Mac. But back to so graduation, June 2019. You're walking down the aisle. You're sweating. You're freaking out. There's 20 people in the audience holding tomatoes, ready to toss. Funny?
I'm not gonna lie. Myself and my whole family was really upset because no one throws their hat.
Oh yeah.
Like in university, you don't throw the hat.
Yeah, I remember I was.
Why did I come if we're not allowed to throw our hats?
I brought.
How many hats would be
my own
like?
Hats.
Come on, like
that'd be funny if like you brought like just like 10 hats and you just stack them on your head and like during the thing, like you're just while we're walking up in line, you toss them. You time it out that like as you're going by, you do 1/10 of the way you do one hat. That'd be awesome.
That'd be good.
Yeah, I remember mine. Like I was like basically dancing when I was coming up. Like you're trying to be like formal as can be and like hold it together, but like I remember still walking all cheery. It was like 5 years in the making. This is what it's all about. Like why not? And I even got up on the stage. Did they do the thing where 2 people graduate at a time? Yeah. So it's like they call up like Desmond Metz and Donnie Malubo, like someone else that's similar. I don't know if they do first name or last name. So you and Donnie Malubo.
Donnie Malubo.
And like it was, I remember looking because like you have even Metz, you're middle of the alphabet. Even like for me, Turner, like I was waiting a long while. So you see half the thing go before you're even standing. You're like, okay, so that's what I gotta do. I gotta not mess that up. Yeah. Like it's not like you're in this mile-long line. Like you're sitting down for 95% of it, and then my turn to stand up and go in line. Yep. So like the whole time you're like, I'm not gonna be like that person. That person.
There's so many people. Yeah, you just sit there and just watch.
Like teeth, just like that guy tripped. Oh, that's not good. Like,
that's not good.
Like man, that guy should have brushed his teeth. It's like the whole time you're trying to be like, maybe if I do that, maybe if I wink, no, maybe if I jump, no. Like you're like the whole time I was thinking like, how am I gonna do it? I only get one chance. Like I've already seen 1,000 chances go by. So I remember like whenever those 2 people would come up, there was no communication between the 2. It seemed like they. It was that they had never met before, unless they happen to have a locker next to Metzi Malupo.
No, didn't even have one.
So like, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just 2 strangers coming up, and I was like, you know what? Like, this is like an important thing. Like, this is something that like I know that person's gonna remember for the rest of their life, and I'm gonna remember for the rest of my life. So I remember trying to make friends with the person that was like next to me. can't remember his name.
So not very good friends.
No. But okay. Let me think. His last name would have been a letter or so off from me. I think I even got him on Facebook after that. So yeah, sorry, buddy, I forget your name. But but I remember like me and him, like we shook hands even like while we were like smiling in front of everyone, like try to make it look like we did it, like yeah, like it's a big celebration. And I think that's something they need to do for the next one, and like especially in these divided times. So
it's funny you say divided times because I don't know what your like ceremony was really about, like what they talked about the whole time.
Just talked about just cartoons.
Well, like mine was
sunny day.
Mine was really funny because like one prof comes up and she's like, "Congratulations, graduates, especially my program or my class. Like, so proud of you guys." And
everyone else,
like, it was like,
sorry,
it was like, "Fuck you,"
yeah,
right?
Really.
And then there was like a whole big like thing about like obviously you probably had like the Aboriginal.
Oh yeah, where they what do they call it? The peace agreement? They acknowledgements.
Yeah.
They acknowledge that they're on like their lands that we stole and like that we're people and
right?
stuff.
And she's the best because she honestly claps her heart out for everyone. That lady on the stage.
Counselor Chichu?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, she's great. Yeah.
But it was so funny because like everyone else in this thing had like a shout out for like, like, I don't know, like all like the indigenous people, the women, like if you're of color, of like a different race, like all this thing.
That's ever been,
and I'm just kind of like sitting there like a young white male, and I'm like, well, fuck me then. Like I don't even deserve it. Like just don't, like it's fine. I'll just mail it.
I don't know. Sometimes
like I get it, but it was kind of like, why can't we just be happy for like everyone? Like we're
trying to equalize.
I know. Come on.
It's our turn to sit back.
I don't even feel like I should be here. Like I feel like an asshole being here now.
Sam Walton, just sit down. There's too many Sam Waltons in the world. That's the problem. But no, I know what you mean though. It's like I got the same deal. Like, and I got the thing too where like I'll be like the only blonde person in my class, and like I feel like, so this is what it's like being like this is what being a minority is all about. But I don't know, like I guess by being, the reason why we're excluded is because we've been over included for so long. Yeah. So it's kind of like,
I get it, but it's
no, because I know because I had that same thought as you did at one point, and the next thought I had was like, well, you know what? Because they have to exclude me, kind of shows that like I've already got it. Like I'm already kind of. It almost shows like I don't need it. They were like, that guy, he's already like strong. These other people, we've like torn them down over these decades. Yeah. We got to rebuild them. So it's almost like you do sit there like, oh, why not me being acknowledged? But at the same time, I'm like, because like our people, and when I say that, I mean like white North American people. We've already taken a lot. Like,
we've taken more than our share.
Like I could sit down without frowning, like we've got plenty enough. But I still get that though. But I don't know, maybe it's probably gonna turn again soon. You see, like there's even that guy who changed his gender to female just so that he can get cheaper insurance. Like, so the guy, he was like,
oh my god,
I think I think he just had to pay the fee to like buy a new driver's license. Like it's the same thing if you lose your license and you got to get renewed or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was like
you need a new picture on this.
Yeah, because it's all digital now. So he changed his gender. This is I'm pretty sure he was from Canada, and now he's female, and he paid like considerably less. Again, I want to say half as much, but like it was less. And he was like, yep. And my friends, my family, like they still call me a guy. Just for legal purposes, I just have to check that separate box from now on that I'm technically a female, and I paid maybe $1,000 less a year on my car now, and it was like this crazy thing because it's like showing that like this might actually like catch on, like people might start doing this, people might just like start changing their gender just cause, and the same thing might happen where like white people are, and you see it happening now in the States. That's what like all white nationalism is people coming up saying like, when's it our turn? Everyone else gets special treatment, and like. That's what's dangerous now is like you
honestly,
see a lot
right?
of rising up. It's like Maxime Bernier saying, "Don't let any people immigrating here." Or no, he's saying no mass immigration or whatever. But like we know what he's trying to say. Who he's trying to like appease and please or whatever.
States are such an interesting place because like who I was talking to, we're like talking. They're like, well, like racism isn't really a thing anymore. It's not like a big thing. I'm like, it's a huge thing.
Man!
Like think about some of the southern states.
Dude, when I drive to Florida, it's like really sad. Like it's so sad when you're down there because like there's some people like of color that you usually just used to. Like honestly, in Canada, it's everyone's everyone. Like we're so leaps and bounds beyond Alabama, in Georgia, when it comes to like relations with different minorities, and like we're just so homogenous here, I guess, in that way. We're heterogeneous, meaning there's a lot of different parts of us, but we're homogenous in the way we treat each other. Down there, it's the opposite. They're very like, it's like when two parts of the salad dressing separate, it's like you can tell, and you can't mix that together.
It's not happening.
And it's awful because, like, you know, I'd go to say hi to whoever, whether you're white or black or whatever else, and say hi to a black person. And sometimes, like, I've had it where someone's looked back at me and they've like been like almost like who the fuck are you kind of thing, like go fuck yourself. And you kind of realize like shit, like there is a war down here. Like there are people that are like, it's literally us versus them with a lot of different groups down there. And it's sketchy. It's like, sorry, like I didn't know, like, you know, come up to Canada anytime. We'll make you a cup of tea and get you some tidbits and try them out.
Give me some maple syrup. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a different place down there. So Desmond,
I don't know how we
I love it. Like, anyone that wants to, like, you know, and the cool thing is afterwards I could take clips, and you know, I'll probably start doing this too. I'm gonna start like going through the podcast and start being like, oh, here's like us talking about this thing, and I'll start, you know, like they do the JRE clips for Joe Rogan's podcast. Yeah. So then I'll put something up like Dan and Des talk about like the racial divide. I'm gonna do that one first.
Okay.
And we'll see where this goes. That'd be funny. But yeah, no, I'm glad that you came. You're a really good talker too. It's like sometimes I have people come on, and as soon as it's always weird when you turn on the mic and the camera and all that. But like some people really pause it. I've had friends come on here that are like, I need to have like 4 or 5 beers like before. Like,
fair enough.
Yeah, like it gets like some people get so like camera shy, but like no, like you should be a regular. You should like
just come back every once in a while.
I'll have to change the name of the podcast. Well, even Matt Vanderzalm came on a few times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was on episode 2, and then he came back the one day with Shay Toner. We did a three-way talked about it. And then we did a podcast. We talked about firefighting for a while. It was pretty interesting because like they had a recruitment process last year, and I was thinking about applying. And it's kind of funny. So I work in Fort Erie now, but I live here in Niagara Lake. But I was thinking maybe I should live in Niagara Falls, like right in the middle of like my life, because like all my family and most of my friends are down here in Niagara Lake and Niagara Falls. I work on the southern part of the peninsula, so I should live right in the middle. Like that's my nucleus already.
Yeah.
Like it's a funny thing if you take the average of everywhere that you are throughout a day, you can calculate that exact midpoint of where you are.
That's fair. Have you done this?
Well, here's like a simple way to put it. So if let's say there's 3 spots, and they each come with a certain latitude and longitude. So let's say if this is like 0, 0 right here, and for those who can't see, I'll put it up to the camera after and I'll describe it. But basically how it works is you assign 3 separate points that are not the same points. So think of like a triangle there of points, and you assign a certain latitude and a certain longitude to it. So let's say these are up here at 3 longitude, and let's say over here we're at 3. Ooh, that's not
what is
latitude.
That?
Here's 2. This is 2 out, and then so this is at 0, 2. This is at 3, 0, and then this one is at, let's say, about 3, 3. And you could take, like, let's say you spent 1/3 of the day here, and you spent 1/3 of the day here, and you spent 1/3 of the day at the other point, at all 3 points. All you would have to do is add up all of the points that you have and take the average of them, like to add all the latitudes and all the longitudes, divide them by how many points that you've been at, and you can find your average place. So here we're going to add up all the.
That just sounds so crazy. Take the time and do
this. Well, it's not that hard. So
it's really not.
So if we want to add up the longitude, it's 0 plus 2 plus 3.
So, you're doing the math.
Which is 5. Divide that by 3, and you've got
yeah, there you go.
So 60% of and then add up here, and we're looking at 3 plus 3, so 6 divided by 3, so 2. So we are 2 out here, so right in the dead center. And then if we are 0 plus 2 plus 3, so 5 divided by 1.5. Okay, so we're like right in the middle here. So this is where we would be, right in the center of all 3 by taking the averages of them.
Hell yeah.
So Google does this thing, Google Timeline, where it records all the places that you are. So I always imagine.
Fair enough.
I always imagine where. There it is.
A little bit.
Perfect. So I guess for this document here, here I am. Here is where I work. And then let's say like I go to school here. Yeah, you know, because there's Hamilton. There's me going to school. There's me in Niagara. There's me going down to 40. I guess my nucleus, if I'm counting school, would be like Beamsville.
Yeah, probably.
All right, I'm moving to Beamsville.
It's funny, actually. I asked Marina, I'm like, where do you picture us living? And this was like before we left. And she said, I don't know, maybe Grimsby.
That's almost Beamsville.
And I
side in Grimsby says
like,
almost Beamsville.
I was like, why Grimsby? And she was like, well, I don't know. It's like halfway between St. Catharines, halfway between Binbrook, like where her family's from, my family's from. Okay. So I was just like, oh.
The nucleus.
She's like, why? Where would you go? And I was like, I don't know. We're about to go like halfway around the world. I was like,
my nucleus is the Atlantic.
Yeah, it's right in the middle. I gotta find a tiny little island that's really high above sea level.
Yeah, high enough that I can see where everyone is at the same time. Yeah, I'd love to live in like. Would you ever want to live? I think I know the answer. I feel like you're more of like a not Toronto city downtown urban person.
No,
I've always wanted to live in a really tall building, but only for 6 months. I feel like I've had a lot of experiences that have been between 4 and 8 months, and I find that's where I really like. It's a
that's
lot
where you excel.
That's
4 to 8 months.
That's where I peak. Yeah, 4 to 8 months.
4 to 8 months.
It was like I was in
it's all downhill from there.
Oh, after
I need 4 to 8 months to recuperate.
At the 9th month, I'm freaking out. I'm cutting everything. I'm just like a maniac, just insane. Don't let me do it. Forks. And anything less than that, and I'm just freaking out. Don't know where I am. It takes 4 months to settle down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I've wanted to live in like really high-rise building in Toronto for like 6 months. Like if I had like, let's say like an internship, or let's say I did schooling in Toronto or something, and found a cool place to kick it for 6 months. It'd be fun.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'd want to go for 6 months.
Be fun. You could do it. Why not?
I mean, I could do it, but I was
just do it.
Right.
Nobody cares.
It's like I want to travel, but like not there.
Like,
it's not.
Yeah,
I want to travel there.
Well, okay. Imagine like downtown London is pretty crazy because like I remember going there thinking like
I've never actually been.
Like
I've heard
their financial district. Their financial district is nuts. Like because you go and like. It's literally like a modern Toronto, like because it's funny. You go to Europe and everything is old. Like every building is like 1,000 times older than like the average building. Everything's brand new here in the Niagara region. Like the last 30 years, like half the builds are in like the last 10. Or so it seems. I don't know. I don't know the stats. And don't quote me and take me to the stat bureau. Don't take me to stats camp. I left already. But yeah, then you get to London and all these crazy brand new buildings there, and you're like, holy Brexit, those are new.
Fair enough, man. Yeah, I can't say I've ever been. So
you were on the subway station. You just didn't go to that area when you were there in London. Have you been to London?
Which London are we talking about?
I'm talking about like over there.
Like England?
Yeah.
London, England?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were talking about London.
Ontario?
Yeah. Oh, that's why I was like, that's why my mind was blown because I've never been there. I was like, really?
That's funny. We've been to that London first.
Yeah, honestly though, right? I've actually been to
2 hours. Like, let's go.
I've been to London. I've been to London 3 times now.
Wow. But you haven't been to London, Ontario.
No.
That is the biggest slap in the face to everyone.
Right? And it's like I always said Canada first, and then I went to Scotland. And then I got back, and then me and Marina were like, let's go to Europe.
America first.
So then we went to Europe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess, I don't know. There's a lot of things they try to copy in London, Ontario. There's a river there, too, and they also call it the River Thames or Thames.
Do they really?
Yeah. Yep. And you go around, like, Western, and everything's in English. So, like, the university, they chose the same language. So, I mean, that's pretty similar. They've got people there, too. A lot of white people. It's a lot of white people. It rains both places.
That's fair.
Sure, there's some guy named Boris walking around in London, Ontario.
Yeah, sorry. Now I got to think of everything you were saying about London, Ontario, but apply it to London, England.
So I was just talking about how it's crazy how everything's really old there, but that they have these like, big modern buildings. And like
every so often, right? And it's just like...
Would you want to live in one of those? Like, let's say 50th floor in like a crazy brand new building.
Honestly?
In, like, downtown London. I
don't think I would. And to put a cherry on top, we were in Portugal. When we stayed there, we had this really awesome host that we had there.
And she gave you cherries.
She didn't give us cherries. she did give us really good wine, which was delicious. We shared a bottle on the last night, but the guy we met, Fabio, he lived in London, and
he gave you the cherries.
Well, actually, he loves it in London. What am I saying? Now that I'm thinking about it, he likes like the city, how it never sleeps. It's always like go, go, go. But he's like, I'd move away because he was like before. He's like, I looked at my window and there was the London Eye or Big Ben or one of the two. He's like, it was like I think it was the London Eye, just like right out the window, right? But he's like, but it was so crowded. He's like, if I move back there, like I'm gonna move like out a little bit. Like,
yeah.
That was a little bit hectic. I'm like, I can't imagine that. Like.
Yeah, 6 months. That's it.
That's
Not
it.
More than that.
4 to 8 months.
Because I know if I signed up for a year, I'd probably go insane. I'd be freaking the hell out.
Yeah, it's such a small space too. A lot of them.
Yeah, like it's funny because I just for fun I've looked up like Manitoba. Like what's the tall? And I've literally Googled this. Like what's the tallest building in Manitoba? And like I think it's like 12 floors, and it's like just like some residentially kind of apartment building or whatever. And like it's like that'd be kind of cool. Like to be living in the highest floor in the whole province of Manitoba, just to say in the province, like just to be like, so how are things going up in the old Tobe? Oh, you know, I'm living in the tallest apartment in the province. And people are like, whoa, that's
no big deal.
I'm on the 3rd floor. If I jump, I'll hurt my wrist. If there's a fire, I'm gonna have to get a ladder. Wow, that's great.
Congratulations.
Hopefully there's not many fires there. So, okay, first country you were at.
First country we were at was Ireland.
And you flew there from Toronto?
Hamilton, actually.
Hamilton?
Yeah.
Wow. Aer Lingus? Air Canada?
I think it was.
Was it a plane?
It was a plane. It was a plane. I think it was
one of those flying boats.
It was something weird. It was like, I don't even know. I don't even know if I still have the email.
Like Air Afghanistan or like Air Moscow.
Something like that.
Just random.
It was just something like I don't even
know if it was a country.
Rita's watching. She's like, you stupid idiot. Like,
was it Swoop?
Come on, like you gotta know this.
She's probably screaming.
It wasn't that long ago. She's like, it's this. It's this.
She'll comment for people to see later on. Whenever you watch
it was this. I can't even remember what it was called. On the way home, we had Air Canada though. But the way there, don't remember.
So got to Dublin.
About a 7-hour flight, yeah, straight into Dublin. And it was actually really cool. I still remember we landed there. Like now it's like really, this is it. We're here now, right? We're looking for a bus. We couldn't figure out the bus. We're like, fuck it, let's get a cab. And we got in the cab and we're driving, and it's just this like, you know, typical Irishman, just the nicest guy in the world.
God called you a fat coo.
It didn't call us a fat coo, which is great. And we're on our way to our B&B, and like he said something. It was something like, "It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice." And it was just like,
wait, you're caught off guard. Like, what?
Yeah, literally. I was kind of like, you know, it's kind of one of those phrases that I feel is like it's a pretty popular phrase, but like he just said it, and I never really heard it before, and then like it was kind of like, you know, it's a really nice thing to hear, like from the first person that we've interacted with on this trip.
Because then you're like, every other person I interact with is going to be like this too.
Yeah,
projected.
Which isn't
100% of the people I've talked to have been positive.
Right? So it's like, I don't know. It was kind of just like, that was just a cool moment, and I still remember that. Like, right? And then we got to the B&B. We thought we were going to be so productive. We got there, we put our stuff down, and it was like, all right, so nap. We'll just like nap for like a little bit.
And then we slept.
And then we slept. And then we slept for 4 hours.
Wow.
4 or 5 hours.
You need that though.
Yeah, you definitely do. And then we went into town, kind of checked it out, came back, and then the next day we had booked a trip to the cliffs of Moher, which is really cool.
Right on the ocean?
Right on the ocean, looking out. And it's just like, yeah, they're just incredible, man. Just such steep, like just nothing. Just like
did you have that
and then nothing.
Before you flew out there, did you already have that planned? So that was just, we saw it online and just, like, because what was your best way to like find places to go?
I think Marina did want to, like, she did want to go there.
You guys probably had like a list of like 10 things to do in each country before you went.
Yeah, there was like a couple things. Well, honestly, I'm not gonna say it was mostly me because it was mostly Marina.
That's great when you have someone.
Right. She was awesome. Like, couldn't ask for anyone better to travel with.
You're a super easy-going guy, so it works out.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, it got complicated at sometimes.
No,
right?
we're doing this left,
right? But for the most part, yeah, it worked out really well. And like for the most part, it was like I wanted to show her around Scotland because she didn't really get to see it when she came and she visited me while I was kind of in school. So I wanted to show her Glasgow, So we saw that, and then there was like 2 places in Italy I wanted to see, and then the rest of it I was like, I don't really care. Like a few countries I want to sit on a beach. I really don't care where the beach is. If there's water, that's good. Like, fine. Like,
just get this bitch on a beach. Come
on.
Right?
So like that was really like, and for the most part, like that was it. I wanted to go to Croatia. That was like the only other country that I was like, I want to go here because Croatia. It's beautiful.
I want to take the Croatian potatoes home with me and grow them from home.
So that was amazing. But yeah, so it was mostly her. So when we got there, she actually researched like a company and got us tickets, and then we made our way out there. It was a really beautiful day. Like it was a perfect day. Sun, shine, hardly even needed the jackets. It was kind of breezy, right beside the ocean.
When was it that you went? Was it like right in June?
I was June 24th, so we would have landed there June 25th, and that would have been on the 26th. I wrote myself like a diary in my phone, and I meant to do it every night, but I often got really lazy by the end of the night, and then it'd be like a train ride like a week later, and I'd be like
catching up on things.
I'd be like, fuck, what did we do this day?
It's funny.
And then like think back, look at my pictures, ask Marina, and then like write and like right, because I'm trying to remember like sort of those little things from the days that like you're gonna forget over time, but like there's a lot of like little things. Like I'll read that and be like, holy like.
And I had that last year. So we actually, Caleb's mom bought me, him, and his cousin, the 3 of us who went out there, bought us all little journals.
Yeah.
And wrote every day in them. And there was the odd time where a day or two would go by, and trains, planes, automobiles, best way to like catch up on
totally
on all the writing. But yeah, and it's funny because like even after that, like during the election, I was writing every day like what I did, where I was, keeping track of that, and even like to this day, I write every day. Every day I write like maybe 2 or 3 pages, sometimes 1 page even, just like what I've done, what I plan to do, what I want to do next, and like any other thoughts. So good call to have that. So you were jumping off cliffs.
We were jumping off cliffs. No, I don't think you'd make it.
I was throwing people.
I don't think you'd make it if you jumped off.
It?
Man, there was so much information learned on that whole entire trip. That's why we need the fat guy.
Yeah.
Just to be like,
that
it
fat
was
coup.
We need the fat coup, the fact guy.
Oh, fact
the
guy.
Fact
that guy. Fact guy.
The fact guy.
With that damn coup.
Fat coup with the facts.
So we had to stop off in Glasgow
and tell us that how tall it was. It was. I don't want to give a number and then be horribly wrong.
Do it.
You know what I mean?
How dare you?
I feel like it was like 270 meters.
Wow. That. Jonathan, what's the equivalent of that?
Like that's a lot. Like.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
No, like you wouldn't want to do that.
Okay, you know what? 270 meters, 2.5 meters is about a floor. So yeah, so you're talking about like 100-floor building.
Yeah,
that's how deep it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was a big, like it was a big cliff.
Wow.
And it was actually really funny that day. We were on the bus. And there was these 2 Swedish people in front of us who were just like really annoying us.
So they weren't sweet, but they were Swedish.
Yeah, exactly, right? But like they were really annoying us, and there was no like particular reason. It was mostly because it was really early, and they just kept talking, and like you could see most people were like, "All right, I'm gonna take my nap while we drive to the place," and they're just chatting, having a grand old time. Right. And like they were so annoying, they were right in front of us. And then later in the day, after we had stopped, we stopped at one little castle thing. We got back on the bus, and then they were trying to take a nap because like we had like 2 hours to go to the next place. Well, then they start playing the fucking Irish music.
Wow.
Right? And it was a fucking clap along, which is the greatest thing ever when the people that annoyed you and you couldn't sleep are going to sleep and you get to now clap as a group. Right behind.
Sorry,
them.
I thought you were saying they were playing this music to fall asleep to.
No. The bus was playing this music, like put on this music.
That's awesome.
Man, I'm blanking on so many things. What was that?
And then
Whiskey in the Jar was a song. And there's like spots where you clap along to it, and I was just clapping my heart out because I was like, "Fuck you guys!" Like I was trying to sleep at 8 a.m.
This lesson.
Yeah, I was like, if you would have let me sleep at 8 a.m., I wouldn't clap so loud behind you. But like, and then they couldn't sleep, and then they just kind of like, all right, we're awake, and I was just like,
we learned not to do this ever again to the Canadians.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, cause like you get those days where like this is the only chance I'm gonna have to like be asleep, or this is the only chance I'm gonna have today to do this specific thing, and I want to make sure I'm energized.
I'm gonna get some rest. Like I want to and then it was just hard with them in front of us, but it was a good day at the cliffs, and the whole trip was very good.
And that was like that was after you napped that first day.
No, sorry, that was the second day. So we took a nap, went out to town, and came back, and then the second day we went to the cliffs of Moher, and that was pretty much the whole day. I think we tried to come back to town, but we were leaving the next morning, right? Because the only reason we went to Ireland because it was the cheapest place to fly into.
Yeah, that's Europe.
So we were like, fuck it, we'll just go to Ireland, do a quick flight over to Scotland, and then we're into Europe. Like by train, we had a
U-Rail.
Yeah, U-Rail.
Did you already have your like every country plotted out where you're going?
Yeah, we had like a route sort of set, but as it turned out, that wasn't really the best route a lot of the times. And I should have planned more. I'm going to put that on me.
All right, fair enough. So I want to hear it. Spit out every place you went.
So every place you went was Ireland and Scotland.
Be specific with like the main cities you're in.
We were in Dublin, Ireland. Then we were in Scotland. We went to Glasgow. We went to Stirling.
Back to Glasgow.
Always go back to Glasgow.
To Stirling. And then from
Stirling, we had another day just in Glasgow.
And what are your travels along these ways? Because you had to fly to get to Scotland.
Yeah. So we flew Ryanair to Glasgow. That was no problem. And then took the bus from there. Like, I love being in Glasgow because as soon as I get like out of the airport, it's just like I know where to go.
I love that feeling.
And it's just like it's just like not a problem. It's just like I know the streets, I know where to go. Like I'm not gonna get lost there. Like if I do, if I do, I walk 2 minutes. I'm like, oh, okay, this is good. Like I know which way to go.
It's almost like you built a structure there. You know your home there, kind of.
Well, exactly, right. And like I stayed with my Uncle George, like my relative. We were going to stay with him, so I'm always kind of excited. Like it's like, all right,
I love that too.
So we went and stayed with him when we got there. But sorry, in Glasgow. Then we went to Paris, France.
To Stirling.
Train
to Stirling.
Train to Stirling and back. We were going to go to Linlithgow to the palace, which is also beautiful. Go there.
And then how'd you get to Paris?
But I got really sick that day. We actually had to stay in the city. And then we just did a little bit of shopping because it was like
food poisoning kind of sick.
Yeah, like, I don't even know what it was. Like it was just like I'm not good, right? And it was like I can push it today and maybe be sick for like a week, and we're going not to like a familiar place, or we can just chill like today, right? Like it's not ruin this before it begins sort of thing, right? Okay, and luckily I was fine like after that day, so that was great. We did a little bit of shopping in the city, got a couple things we needed for travels, and then we made our way by train stopped in London.
Just fill up on
just a couple hours. We grabbed a bite to eat, which wasn't the best bite to eat by far.
And then back on another train.
After the
shitty food.
After the shitty food, back on the train. And then we went to Paris, France.
So through the channel.
Yeah.
Okay, I did that too.
We went through it twice.
No way.
At the end of the trip as well.
Oh, I can hear people racing down the streets. East-West line. Lower that limit.
That's what it's about.
Okay, so you channeled twice.
Yep. The other time was on the way back, but to complete the route, we gotta get the route here. So Paris, France,
came for
Bordeaux, France. Then we went to Barcelona, Spain, and then we went to Madrid. After that, we went to Cascais in Portugal, and then from there we actually flew our asses up to Switzerland. We had no intentions of staying in Switzerland because we were catching a train at 5:30 in the morning after our flight. We landed at 12:30.
Did you catch a hostel in Switzerland?
No, we Googled it. The train station is supposed to be open 24 hours. We're like,
nope. Where in Switzerland, by the way? Zurich?
Yeah.
Oh, that's where I was.
Because it was into the main, like, capital city, main airport. And, like, so we're like, there was, like, us, there was, like, 3 other dudes and a couple other people. And we're all sort of, like, in, like, the lobby of the train station, right? Google says it's open 24 hours. We're all chilling. At one point, a security guard comes along and starts kicking everyone out. And comes to us. He's like, yeah, get out. And we're like, what? And he's like, yeah, get out.
And you're like, I was gonna sleep here tonight.
Yeah, and we're like, Marina's like already asleep. Like, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, no, we have a train at 5:30. It's like 2:30. I'm like, we have a train in 3 hours. Like, what do you mean? Like, the train station's closed.
Yeah, like let us fucking live. Like, we're not.
And like, it's like we're going to another country. Like, we have an international train in 3 hours. Like, what do you mean? Right?
Yeah, like we're customers here.
And he's like, the train station is closed. Like, out. Like, kicked everyone out. We're like, well, what time does it open? And he's just like 3:30. And we're like,
so come back and
so it's closed for an hour? It was an hour. Jeez. So we went to McDonald's. That was closed. We ended up sitting on a city bench right beside McDonald's for about an hour and a half.
Wow. And
then we tried to go back in. Still wasn't open. It probably took closer to 2 hours.
So like,
then we just sit.
Had to be homeless for a few hours.
Yeah, pretty much. That was a low. That was a low on the trip. But luckily after that was Italy. So we flew to Switzerland, got our train at 5:30, went to Milan, and then Marina's dad actually met us over there.
That's funny. I connected in Milan too, because we actually took we took a train from it was Rome to Milan, and then from that was fast train. It was like the 300-kilometer-an-hour one in that stretch, and then we took this old piece of crap from there to Zurich. Okay, so you got to Milan, and then what happened next?
We met up with Marina's dad, Mario.
Oh, cool.
So then we were just with him for the next week and a half.
So she's Italian?
Yep. And he had a rental car, and he's been meaning to see his family there. So we started off in Bologna. We had a night there. Then we went to Venice after that. And then I believe went to Florence. It's all wrong.
I believe you.
Florence after that. I should be looking at my Facebook. That'll tell me. I'll know exactly where I am.
Fact checking.
Right?
Shade toners out there going,
So after that, we left there. We went up to. I think we just went Bologna and then Venice, and then we left Bologna, and then we went up to Tuscany. We were up there, sort of like right in the heart of Tuscany.
Wow, so you were everywhere in Italy for a while. How long were you in Italy?
And then 2 weeks? A week and a half, pretty much. But we went to in Italy. We weren't really in Milan, but we drove out of Milan to Bologna to Tuscany. We were in Pisa, Rome, Florence, Venice.
So cool. What was you drove the whole time through there?
Yeah, Marina's dad was driving, which was such a struggle because I was in the back seat navigating.
Yeah. Oh wow!
So I'm yelling the navigations,
and he's from Italy, or is he from here?
His family, so Marina's dad's side's from Italy.
Oh, okay.
So he's still got family there.
But like he's from North America though.
So his Italian is like his old dialect that his mom taught him. So it's
not very translatable.
No, like some people have no idea what the hell he's saying.
That's crazy.
One guy called him a mafioso because he speaks like the old Italian.
That's so cool.
His family can kind of understand him. But like I can only imagine how much of a struggle it was for him, because it was like we're sitting around, there's like 8 people, right? They want to talk to us. Obviously, like the Marina's family, they want to talk to us. So every once in a while they'd say something to us, right? And we'd be like, oh, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
they'd repeat it, the exact sentence, and it was like,
I've had that.
I still don't know, right? So then we'd be like, Mario, like trying to interrupt his conversation. Like, can you translate this? I mean, he's got to stop, listen to their sentence, think about it, like translate it, tell us,
and then still his interpretation,
right? Too. Right? And then he wants to go back to his conversation. We're like, wait, tell her, like, we need to respond.
It's
right?
So frustrating.
So then we'd have to tell him, then he'd have to translate that into Italian. Tell her, like, so.
That's when you need Google Translate. But the thing that sucks is like,
we did.
Dialect is like, it's still so tough.
I mean, we did have Google Translate, but even so, like, she's like, for Marina's great aunt, like, who's the sweetest old lady. It's like she can't type into an iPhone, like,
and it's not as easy as just like,
and like she can say it as slow as she wants, but I'm not gonna get it. Like,
it's like when Nolan tries saying, "Hey Google," it's like, "Hey Google." Oh, there goes my phone, and it's probably anyone that's watching that has the. Well, actually, no, because they do a good job of personalizing to your voice. Like I know if you say "Hey SIRI," I'm not going to say it, but if you say that, it trips a lot of phones up automatically, and they go and start doing whatever. I've had that happen, where like they've said the Google word, it ends up like activating my phone and pausing my shit. I'm like, idiots.
It's creepy how much your phone listens to you.
Oh, everyone's. So like what's crazy is if you said like, hey, seer with an I at the end of that on like a podcast that like, let's say like Joe Rogan, who's got like millions of people at a time, think of like how many different iPhones across the world all at once go doo-doo.
That is creepy.
They could probably tear networks down.
They probably could.
Good thing most people
put
use
this in television. Honestly.
Yeah,
it's funny. Marina was getting so mad throughout the trip because I got a BlackBerry, a Keynote too,
classic,
and I just love the keyboard, man. Like, and I like the phone. Like, I don't know. I'm not a big social media guy. I just joined Instagram at the start of this trip to sort of like show some pictures because a lot of people from work and stuff wanted to see what I'm doing. So I was like, all right,
make it fair to
I'll put it on Instagram. Right? I knew my mom wouldn't join Instagram. When I went to Scotland, I posted all my pictures, and then like. I found like everyone kind of looked at them while I was gone, and then when I got back, no one was like, "Hey, let's look at your pictures," or like, "Tell me about anything." It was like, "Oh, you already saw them."
Yeah, that is kind of sad
right?
at the same time.
So that's why I only posted such minimal. Like it was like
I did
just a little snapshot like from where we are, and then like we're still sort of planning a day where we're gonna go through them all. But me and Marina both like combined have so many pictures.
Probably thousands. When I was in Europe, I didn't post a single photo. Like people who I didn't tell didn't know where I was for 2 months. I didn't post anything.
That's awesome. But anyway, we are still in Paris. So after Paris, we went to Bordeaux, France, and then Barcelona, Madrid in Spain, Cascais in Portugal. Oh right, no, sorry, we were all the way in Italy.
Yeah, how'd you get to Italy? No, because then you went to Switzerland,
Milan, and then like we went all through Italy,
everywhere,
pretty much everywhere in Italy. And then after that, we took a very cheap flight that we shouldn't have taken. Sorry, Marina. Shouldn't have taken that flight, and that's the flight we lost Marina's bag on, flying into Mykonos in Greece.
Some Greek guy took it.
Mykonos in Greece, then Santorini in Greece. We flew up to Athens, and then we flew to Dubrovnik, Croatia. And then we stayed in Dubrovnik, and then we went to Split in Croatia. Then the plan was to go back to Switzerland. The train was fully booked, and they said we can take it to Munich, and we were like,
"Fair enough,
close enough. Munich it is." Yeah. So we took a train to Munich in Germany, and after that we went to Brussels in Belgium, and then after that we went up to the Netherlands. So we went to Rotterdam, Utrecht, and Amsterdam.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then we came back sort of down and through the Channel again, and we went to England. We went to oh man, I'm gapping on it.
How long were you gone? 2 months?
Oh, this is the one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to my family right now.
I'm sorry to all my loved ones out there.
Oh my goodness.
So you got back to London.
I'm just kicking this place.
Is this like an
Cornwall? There's
Cornwall.
There we were. Cornwall.
Corny.
Yeah, corny. All the way down there in England, like the very southern sort of tip of it.
Why'd you go there?
For my cousin's wedding.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
So the beginning, so that was really. We booked a couple of things going into it, like the first little leg of it. And then after that, we were kind of just freestyling. And like, that was really the only anchor that we had. It was like,
wow, that's awesome.
On the 19th, it wasn't even the 19th. I kept thinking it was the 19th.
What was it
the
actually?
21st, I believe.
So you were in Cornwall for 2 extra days waiting.
It wasn't bad because like, there was a barbecue the night before.
Oh, okay.
We weren't there really early. I figured it out. Like, I went through my messages, so we booked it appropriately.
You were just like, I gotta be there 2 days ago.
Yeah, honestly, right? No, well, we made it all the way there, and I was really happy to actually be there. Like, there was a bunch of my family there, which was great. Like, it's so great when you get to see all your family, and when they're all in one place, it's just so easy.
Was there other people that came from North America?
Yeah. So my Uncle Jim and my grandfather actually flew over, so they were over too. So got to see them as well. Yeah, I kept saying like I was excited to see my grandpa because I hadn't seen anyone from home in a while, right? But my grandpa, I guess, like they're asking, like who are you excited to see? And he goes, "Oh, I'm really excited to see Desmond."
That's
awesome. Like, why?
That's so
you see him all the time. Like, you know what I mean?
Like I got to know him well.
But it's like, well, you know what I mean? It's like I don't know. He knows I've been traveling, so it's just excited to see how I'm doing and how it was, kind of thing, right?
All the places,
so,
man.
So funny.
Where after Cornwall?
After that, we went back up into London. We got a train to Glasgow. I was gonna finish off in Glasgow.
That was the last place.
It was so sad, man, and it was pissing me off because when we got to the hotel, it was pretty late, long day of trains, and there's this guy asking the clerk at the hotel, like where a bar is that he can go to, and like the guy was taking it was like the longest answer. I'm like,
oh man,
we're in Glasgow, bro. Walk outside. Like, are you kidding me? Like. Me and Marina went to McDonald's after we finally checked in after this guy, walked 2 minutes down the road. Well, there's a club literally next door. And like 2 minutes down there, there's a pub right there. Like, I don't know, maybe it's because I know Glasgow, but I'm like, there's 3 more down there. Like,
you know where you
are. Come on, man. Like,
yeah, that is a weird thing. Where am I?
Like, how could you not find a pub? Like, I was getting so mad, and they were having such a long conversation. And I was like, at one point, he kind of turns around. Sorry. Like, just trying to find a pub, and we're like, yeah, we're just trying to go to bed.
Oh, it's awful. So tired.
You know what I mean?
My
like,
trip.
Yeah,
like, so
like,
irritable. Like, sad I'm leaving soon.
Yeah, yes. It's like I don't need your shit.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's it. That's 12 countries that we were in.
That's crazy. I don't know. Let me see. Like, so I mean,
what was your route?
So we flew into Sicily first, but first we had to land in Rome. Then we took a connecting flight to Palermo, and then we stayed there for about a week. Then from Palermo, I think it was 12 and a half hours. We took a train from Palermo all the way up to Rome. We even had to load the train up onto a boat, and the boat went across the Messina Strait
with a train.
Loaded up train carts into it. Huge boat. Like boat
what?
Probably, yeah, it was.
I didn't even know this was a thing.
Oh yeah, like it's a thing, and they drove us over. It took a few times for them to get it on the rail properly. Like you had to literally like shove it up a few times, and lodged us on in there. And that was my favorite part because it was so damn hot. It was like 100 degrees in this train the whole time. So yeah, then took the boat across, loaded us back onto the other tracks. We kept going all the way up to Rome.
Crazy.
Yeah, got to Rome late at night. Was there for a few days. Went to the Vatican, so another country.
Yeah.
And then after that, we took a train all the way up to Munich, or not Munich. Starting to mix up your places. Milan. And then from Milan, took a train up to Zurich, Switzerland. And then from Zurich, Switzerland, we went up to Mannheim, connected from Mannheim in Germany over to Cologne, stayed there for a few days. From Cologne, we took a train over to Belgium and Brussels. And then from Brussels, we took a train up to London, stayed over in Wembley, just outside the world-famous Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, of course.
And then we took a bus, a massive old bus from Wembley over to Cardiff in Wales. So that was cool. Like that was when we first got to really see the ocean side.
Fair enough.
So that was beautiful. Then we flew one morning, early morning, all the way up to Edinburgh, Scotland. And it's funny because we didn't end up getting a cab from the airport or any transportation from the airport to our Airbnb, which is like 15K away. And we each had our massive backpacks, all our stuff. And we couldn't check in until 4 p.m. We got there at like 8 a.m. So it's like, well, may as well just have a slow pilgrimage across Edinburgh. So like, I don't know, for anyone that's been to Edinburgh, it's like, it's a long ass walk where it's just open fields.
Everything's up a hill there too.
You're never going down one for some reason.
You're never going down a hill anywhere in Scotland.
Anywhere on that side of the world. And then from there, we flew over to Belfast, Northern Ireland, stayed there for a few nights. Then we took our final train from Belfast down to Dublin, stayed there for our last few nights, and then flew home. And yeah, pretty wild. I really want to go back to Europe. And I'd love to go on like such an open schedule.
How long ago was that?
That was last year. Just 13 months ago. Ooh.
yeah.
I don't know. Like I gotta go down.
Cole was asking me how I was feeling being back here, and I was like, man, I'm honestly a little bit depressed. Like, I'm trying really hard not to be depressed.
Cole Vartija?
Yeah.
Is it Vartija? Vartija. Yeah.
But you can call him Vartija, and then he's like a tortilla. I remember Mr. Memmi used to call him that. He used to call him tortilla.
He is a tasty Mexican snack, that guy. Hey, Cole.
Yeah, legit. If you're watching.
We gotta go. We gotta get out of there. We gotta go.
But yeah, he was like, man, like you gotta try to like,
no, just let me be sad,
not be bummed, and like see. I'm trying so hard. The first day we got back, me and Marina went. We watched the sunset on Sunset Beach, as it's called now. We're like, honestly, it was beautiful. I'm like, this is fantastic. I'm like, but like,
yeah, it's a weird thing.
I'm not satisfied in this. Like, I could be like anywhere else, like back 7 hours on that plane, and I'd be happy to watch the sunset. But right now, I'm just like,
well, it's
you know what I mean? It was a weird feeling.
And what's sad is like I've seen it with some people, and like I think is like you can tell it happens with some famous people. Like it's when you start to travel way too much, you lose the thrill of traveling, and what happens is you need what used to be that thrill of travel just to feel okay. And then when you're in the same spot for too long, you just fucking want to kill yourself. And like, I think it's a real thing. Like,
yeah, I can imagine, man.
Because the more I travel, the more I want to go. The more one travels, the one less really knows. So, yeah, it's crazy. Like, I feel like we're going to get to the point where it's like, we got to leave the planet. Like, we got to just keep going farther and farther. And it's crazy because like back in the day, you were born in one barn and you died in the barn a kilometer down the road if you're lucky. Like you didn't go far.
Really,
You were in one spot. You were in agriculture.
If you did, there was a book about you.
Yeah. They made a whole story. They made there was a series of books about the guy who left town.
Literally though. Like we don't know the end. There's a bunch of different versions because nobody knows.
Can you imagine that though? Like just you're born.
3 generations later, the letter finally made it to the town.
Oh god. That'd be nuts. And like it's even crazy when you think like so it sounds like with Marina's family, like she's got a lot of relatives that are over there, probably a lot of like relatives that were like long past relatives buried in Italy. And that like, she's now the offspring living in North America and like that, maybe eventually she'll
very emotional when we were leaving. I almost cried. I'm not even related. And I was like, Jesus.
Same side of their family. Stop. It's a weird thing.
She was just the sweetest lady. Like honestly the nicest, like to put it in perspective, they drink coffee after every meal. Yeah. Like, and that's what, and like where we're living, was on like Marina's family's farm. So they have one big house, which is where her great aunt lives. And then there's like a driveway. And then there's another big, huge building, which houses 2 of her sons, Claudio and Mario.
Awesome. So it's just a family ranch pretty much.
Yeah, right. So everything we ate was completely fresh. But one day, we're sitting there and we're at dinner, I think, and she's pouring everyone coffee. And she's like, coffee, right? And she doesn't speak like any English. I'm like, no, like I don't drink coffee. And she's like looking at me like all confused, like what? I'm like, I don't know, I don't drink coffee. And she's kind of like confused, right? Because nobody's like, I don't drink, like I don't want coffee after the meal. Everyone wants coffee.
Yeah, it's like not wanting water.
Something. Right. It's weird. So then Mario translates like he doesn't drink coffee, and her face, like she like kind of looks at him and then looks at me like, what? You don't drink coffee? Like she was honestly baffled, and then she was like trying to ask me something, and I'm like, Mario, like what? And she's like, oh, she's asking, what do you do in the morning? And I'm just like, oh, I don't know, like I have a piece of fruit. And she's like, oh, fruta. Right? Awesome. She was pumped. After every meal, I got my own bowl of fruit and a knife, and I would just sit there and just like eat a piece of fruit. I was like, you know what? I haven't had much fruit since we got here.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to have much fruit when we leave. Like, it's back to, like, eating out, like, not much fruit on the road. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Buying, have you ever had milk pillows?
It's hard to carry. No.
It's a type of cereal, and it's kind of like it's like a big sugary pillow of, like, just chocolate on the inside or vanilla. And I remember I used to buy those as, like, snacks to, like, hold me over on the long train rides between here and there.
They sound delicious. I'm sad I never saw them.
We got to go back. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I want to take time off next year. Like I was telling you briefly, like I'm thinking about applying to law school for next year for September. But if I do that, I'll definitely need to have a few months beforehand to just go explore around and, hopefully I don't defer my program.
It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I want to go to like.
So actually, when we got back, I should have mentioned it didn't really stop in after Glasgow, because we came back. We were here for about, I don't know, maybe half a week, and then we went up to Algonquin.
Oh, okay.
So we were just camping for 4 days.
Gotta get out of here.
Yeah, but it was like, we're home. All right, we're going. See you later.
I can imagine just sitting at home, like just like straight face like this, and then just suddenly flip the table, just walk out the door.
I'm out of here.
I gotta leave. Well, I think we should wrap this thing up because I ran out of water and I'm a fish out of water now.
This is very true.
But yeah, we blew through the hour mark, and we've got lots of ammunition still.
We have lots. Yeah, we didn't even really get into the trip.
Man, we still got well.
We got into like where I went, and that was like
this is the precursor. I think what I want to do one of these days. So, but before we get to that day where I fill this room with 100 people,
yes,
I wanna have me, you, and Caleb. And even if you want to bring your girlfriend on, that would be like, I'm sure she's probably is desperate to fill in some gaps in the story.
Yeah, definitely. And, all the things that I forget.
And I'm sure Caleb probably wants to fill in some of the odd gaps from mine. And I think it'd be really cool. And it might be quite the event. But yeah, thank you for coming on today.
No problem.
Thank you for all those that came on, and for that one person that
one person.
So God bless you all, and let's see if I can turn this off. See you guys.
Please.